in the description below to this video. We're about to get into it. I am outside because I don't feel like being in the house. Whatever. But, yeah.
The murder of BD and KY.
And like I said, this is one of my favorite channels. So you know I'm be coming with reaction videos.
This is a video I am making to update you on the situation regarding the war between Buff City / Death Row / Savo Gang and No Limit / Trench Gang due to the recent murders of Lil Trey Young / Shaky from NLMB / Dredge Gang, and the double homicide of KY from 049 More Field and BD from Buff City / Death Row 085. Nothing except the death of the victims is confirmed in this video. I will mostly tell you about rumors I have heard and that there are many indications that the murders are connected. However, there are some details that may indicate it wasn't connected. I will go through the details and much more in this video. The beef between Death Row and NLMB have been going on for a long while, but it started to heat up for real in 2019 due to murders between the two. In this video I will also clear up a few murders, since both Death Row and NLMB have falsely claimed bodies. The escalation in 2019 started with the murder of Scooter from NLMB, who was shot and killed on April 3, 2019. Scooter was in the 8500 block of South Exchange with two other men, both 18, when two males with dreadlocks walked and fired at the group. Scooter, whose real name was Levon Hill, was shot in the face, neck and chest and was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The two other males with him were also shot. One of them got hit in the leg and the other suffered serious wounds due to being shot in the face and shoulder. Fortunately, both survived. One of the alleged shooters, J Money from Death Row 085, was actually arrested for this and is still locked up in Cook County awaiting trial. Two interesting details about J Money is that he is the younger brother of Hal Rel from Lakeside and also shares the same last name as Lil Hot, which makes me wonder if they could be cousins, since Lil Hot is mentioned he has cousins on the other side. A lot of Lil Hot's cousins are also family with KTS Trey, who Lil Hot allegedly killed together with Pharaoh, Cairo and Muwap from Drench Gang. Another interesting detail about the murder of Scooter is that him and his friends were shot in the middle of Death Row territory. What they did there is unknown, but it is not uncommon for members to get killed in enemy territory while casually off shopping or fronting on social media.
And this ain't your regular reaction video. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't finna be pausing and saying little here and there. I'm listening to the story as well as y'all listening to it, so let's listen to it together. You get what I'm saying?
3 months after the murder of Scooter, No Limit took revenge by killing Mook from Death Row 085. Mook, whose real name was Malcolm Sabs, was standing in the 8600 block of South Exchange Avenue, close to where Scooter was killed, when a group of males approached him on foot and opened fire. Mook was struck in the head and was later pronounced dead at the hospital. One of the alleged killers in this murder is Pharaoh from NLMB / Drench Gang. However, this is not confirmed by any means. However, it is pretty much confirmed that it was No Limit, since Diesel from No Limit basically said it openly on Facebook to J Money from Death Row 085. 2019 was the year a lot of the shorties from No Limit started putting in work due to the war with Death Row. Pharaoh, Twino, Lil Ro, Veru, Muwap and Lil Loss all started putting in work around that time. The whole escalation between Death Row and No Limit was basically between shorties. The older members mostly focused on MTG079. Just 2 days after the murder of Mook, Death Row took revenge by killing Willie, also known as G. Will, from NLMB. G. Will, whose real name was William Washington, only 18, was standing in the 7800 block of South Phillips Avenue when a car pulled up. 2 shooters jumped out and shot him multiple times all over the body. Willie was later pronounced dead at the hospital. One of the alleged killers that jumped out was BD from Death Row/Buff City. He was even arrested for the murder but later beat the case. Other members that are rumored to have been on the hit are Tarantino from Buff City, Savo from Death Row and Fat Lord from Death Row. Just 2 days later, another NLMB member, Magic, was killed. An interesting detail is that Magic was killed on the same block as Willie just 2 days later. NLMB was moving very sloppily in 2019. Many thought, for obvious reasons, that it was Death Row who once again scored on No Limit. However, that is false. The ones allegedly responsible for killing Magic were KTS Stray and Rio G from Pocket Town, where the latter is rumored to have been the trigger man, at least according to what I've heard. A person was allegedly arrested for this murder. I got the report but the name is redacted, but I highly suspect the arrested person was either KTS Stray or Rio G, since the redacted part fits both of their names in terms of length.
Big Mud. Right in the middle of my video, like, I don't understand people sometimes, for real. Like, I told everybody I'm finna be doing videos today. I don't even know if that was winning somebody I know, but it's alright. We like get back into the video.
About a month later, one of Death Row's most outstanding members and arguably the face of the set since he was a rapper was killed. Of course I'm talking about Savo. There are very different opinions and speculations about who actually got Savo. When he died, almost everybody said it was No Limit due to the ongoing war between the two that year, and this may surprise many people, but it was in fact NLMB who got him according to very initiated sources. However, I didn't get the shooter's name since they are still alive. Many have recently believed that it was No Limit Latin Kings or Wacko World that was behind the murder. Not sure where the rumor about Wacko World came from.
I just gotta say this. They do this shit like it's a sport in Chicago or something. Like, I ain't no disrespect to them boys, man. Hey, that's y'all lifestyle, but that's not how I'm living. I got kids and I was wild when I was younger too, but they do this shit like it's a sport. Then this is an everyday thing. Like, I follow more than one Chicago, you know what I'm saying, person like this right here, the Chicago scene. I watch more than one, and it's every day. every day. But I'm about to get back into it.
Probably just made up. I'm very confident that it was NLMB, but either way, I will explain why people thought it was the king since they were involved in a murder 4 months after the murder of Savo. I'm talking about Arrow from Death Row, who went on a hit together with Fat Lord, where Arrow was killed in a shootout with a member named Elvis from the Kings. Elvis and Arrow killed each other in the shootout, and Fat Lord was put in critical condition after getting shot as well. Once Fat Lord woke up, he snitched about the whole situation and about the Willie hit as well, where he apparently was the driver. This is the reason why people thought the Kings got Savo. They thought Arrow and Fat Lord slid to get back for him, but to my knowledge, it had nothing to do with the murder of Savo. Either way, now we can close the whole rumor about the Kings or Wacko World allegedly killing Savo. It was an LMB.
Other social casinos' graphics are so trash, you're gonna think you're playing a gas station slot machine.
Ain't no ad was gonna come in, but go see that for a little bit. But I might cut that out. See the time on it was about 8:25. Yeah.
Allegedly killing Savo. It was an LMB. Shortly after the murder of Savo, 2 members from No Limit were killed. First Breezy Lord on November 26, 2019, and then G. Dottie from ABK and LMB on December 4, 2019. These murders are very uncertain, and both are more affiliates rather than real members of No Limit. Anyway, it is rumored that Death Row got both of them. First Breezy Lord together with Buff City, then G. Dottie together with Black Mob. But like I said, these 2 murders are unconfirmed. I haven't really heard any rumors about what members were responsible, only that Death Row allegedly were behind both with help from their allies. After Arrow's death in early 2020, which No Limit had nothing to do with, the war calmed down for a while. Both Death Row and No Limit had lost many members in a short time of period, and both BD and J Money from Death Row were locked up for murder. However, rappers like No Limit Pharaoh from Drench Gang started dissing Arrow and Savo in his first song in 2021. This caused multiple shooting between the sets. No Limit slid through, shooting up Death Row and Buff City and vice versa. However, soon No Limit shifted their focus to Pocket Town and KTS and put the Death Row beef aside due to the murder of Lil Greg. No Limit carried out revenge very quickly for Lil Greg, allegedly by killing Killa Spook and shooting 8 others, killing KTS Dre and supposedly killing Freeband Bobo. At least that is what I heard. A member from HRYM, who I won't mention by name, was supposedly in the same car as Bobo when he was killed, and that member is very cool with Drench Gang. Also, a member of Drench Gang was even at the same location as Bobo that night and supposedly made a call. However, I don't know who pulled the trigger for certain. Anyway, in April 2022, one of Death Row's most outstanding members, Velo, was killed in an apartment in Rantoul, which is approximately 2 hours away from No Limit's hood. There are arguments that No Limit were responsible, but also that they were not. What indicates that it was not No Limit is of course the distance from their hood. It seems unlikely that it was No Limit unless they had his location where he resided. Also, Fa from Buff City stated in an Instagram story that no ops touched him. What indicates that it was actually No Limit who were responsible is that basically every single Drench Gang member mocked him after his death. This was also G. Fazo Day, Pharaoh, Lil Ru and Twino, all cousins of Fazo, got a shout out from a lot of No Limit members for allegedly putting in work this day. Even G Herbo posted a picture of the big 3 from No Limit. There is also a video of Pharaoh together with Twino and Lil Ro riding around with guns just hours before the murder. However, this is just pure speculation. I lean more in the direction that it was not No Limit. However, not because of what Fa 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 said, but because of the location. It doesn't really matter who was responsible. The mocking after this murder heated up an already heated situation between Death Row and No Limit. Several Death Row members said they would get the last laugh or just simply responded to the mockery with, "Laugh now, cry later."
Feels like a dream, feels like magic.
I did say we weren't gonna have no pauses, but we gonna have them. My baby sleep.
He responded to the mockery with, "Laugh now, cry later." As many of you know, I have reported that No Limit has lost 7 members, or 8 if you wish, since April this year. Hey Dog, Shine, Big B, Twino, Zello, Freddy, G Slim's ex-girlfriend, and Lil Trey Young. Because of this, a narrative has been created that No Limit getting terrorized by Pocket Town, KTS and Death Row. However, it is not the whole truth. I will tell you what I mean. Firstly, Hey Dog wasn't a member like that. I even talked to a source who basically said, "Who is that? I don't know who killed him, but I don't recall any enemies mocking him." Shine, 39, was a real member but who was allegedly killed by Mick Gang, who is allied with Paxtown, who No Limit is war with, so it was neither Pocket Town, KTS nor Death Row. When it comes to Big B, I'm uncertain. Pocket Town, especially Lil Don, was mocking him, but according to those I have talked to, it wasn't Pocket Town nor any other op. But take it with a grain of salt, since most members don't like to admit that enemies put in work. Twino's death speaks for itself. He was killed in a car accident. However, when it comes to the last 3 murders, Zello, Freddy and Lil Trey Young from NLMB, it gets more interesting. Why those 3 are interesting is because I've heard from a very initiated source that BD from Death Row / Buff City, who recently was killed, was up 4 bodies on No Limit alone. We have also seen members such as Fa 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 from Death Row stating in an Instagram post that BD had damn near 10 bodies under his belt, which matches what I have heard. BD's supposed bodies on No Limit are said to be Willie, Zello, Freddy, and Lil Trey Young from Drench Gang, who was killed only hours before BD himself was killed. However, according to initiated sources from the other side, BD wasn't responsible for Zello, Freddy, nor Lil Trey Young. So it's basically word against word, which makes it hard to tell who's actually lying. The source also told me that both Willie and Zello were kind of innocent and weren't about that life for real. So to summarize this information, it's basically word against word who got who. Either way, No Limit have mostly lost holder or innocent members except the last one, Lil Trey Young, who was part of the inner circle with a No Limit, Drench Gang. If it's true what I have heard, that he was killed by BD from Death Row, the get back would come quickly, because only hours after Lil Trey was killed, BD and another member, KY from 049 Murda Field, were both killed in Merrillville, which is a neighborhood in between Outlaw City and No Limit 083, 2 sets that No Limit have conflicts with, especially the latter. We could for example see Veru from Drench Gang and DBK Lil Low walking around on No Limit 083's territory the same day BD was killed.
like it's a fucking video game, bro. Ain't no response in this bitch.
As with almost all the other murders in this video, there are various theories as to who was behind this double murder. Death Row went straight to social media and stated that it wasn't enemies who caught them, and there is actually one detail that supports that statement. The Chicago Sun-Times stated in their article that BD and KY were killed during an argument with another person. Situations like this usually indicate that it was not enemies who are responsible, because enemies usually don't pull up to argue. However, just like with the murder of Velo, there was mockery on social media by Drench Gang, mostly by the younger generation, since the older don't seem to really care about this beef. What really speaks for it being No Limit is partly the mockery, self-snitching, supposed get back for Lil Trey, but also the detail about how BD and KY were killed. Both were shot multiple times and were DOA. Drench Gang have done this to nearly every one of their victims, drenching them with bullets. They did it to KT Estrayan at Pocket Town's celebration party, for example. Also, 2 men, DOA, don't really sound like a random argument that escalated. This sounds more like a hit, which leans more towards the theory that it was No Limit who got him, which I also heard by initiated sources they did. The members who themselves snitched the most after the murder were Pharaoh, Lil Ro, and Brew. If it really was No Limit, I would highly suspect that at least 2 of them were involved, but that's just pure speculation. In conclusion, there is a lot of uncertainty about who got who in this war. Either it's a ton of bodies between the two, or they are just laughing and mocking at each other once the other side loses a member, despite the person not getting killed by one another. However, I do actually believe BD was up for on No Limit, by allegedly killing Willie, Zello, Freddie, and Lil